My name's David Lorimer, and I'm the Program Director of the Scientific and Medical Network, and I'm here with Dr. Natasha Tassell-Matamua, who's speaking to me from New Zealand, and she'll be one of our speakers at Beyond the Brain in November. Natasha, how did you first become interested in consciousness beyond the brain, or have you always taken that view?
I think for most of my adult life, I've probably taken that view. I had my own experience when I was around about 18 years old. I didn't know what it was at the time, but did later learn or read about near-death experiences. And it was at that point that I felt affirmed enough to think that something happened to me. There was some very conscious aspect of me that existed outside of my physical body. So that was a catalyst for me, I guess, believing that there was something more than just physicality. And then about 13, 14 years ago, I began to research near-death experiences as an academic, so my everyday job. And that again has really affirmed a number of things to me, having the privilege of speaking to many, many near-death experiences over that time. So it's a bit of a combination of personal experience and then continued learning through my profession.
Excellent. I very much share that viewpoint. And then what are you going to be sharing with us at the conference?
Well, I'm going to bring an Indigenous perspective to the conference. I am Indigenous Māori from New Zealand. And what I'd like to talk about is how a lot of our stories, which I say have been erroneously termed myths and legends, really talk about consciousness and all manner of phenomena in a way that allow those stories to be embedded and transmitted across time. But of course, those stories, those supposed myths and legends, aren't necessarily endorsed scientifically or by a wider scientific community. So what I'm going to be discussing is how those narratives speak of consciousness existing beyond the brain within our cultural context, and how perhaps rather than looking for exclusively looking for evidence of consciousness beyond the brain from a scientific perspective, that perhaps some of that evidence already exists within our narratives and our stories, or the narratives and stories of Indigenous peoples. So I'm going to be I guess, provoking the audience a little bit, antagonizing thinking around whether the evidence that we, and by we I mean I guess academics use to verify consciousness beyond the brain, whether we should be questioning whether that's the exclusive evidence we should be using, or perhaps that evidence already exists and we need to reframe what we mean by evidence when we're looking at Indigenous perspectives.
Very much so. And so I hope that our viewers will be able to join us at Beyond the Brain, 4th to 6th November this year. Natasha, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.